friends, thanks for joining me for a yoga practice today. If you have 2 yoga blocks handy, we're doing a block supported practice today, and using blocks is never a cop-out or a cheat in yoga. It's just a way to support your poses and make your body move into the poses in different, more supported, sometimes deeper ways. So have a couple blocks. If you don't have blocks, that's okay. We can modify without them. Alrighty, so grab your blocks, grab your mat, and let's get started. So we're gonna start our practice sitting on a block. Take the block and go ahead and sit on the edge of the block. And this allows you to cross your ankles and let your knees drop a little below your hips. So we're encouraging the knees to drop below the hips. And we can even align the heels if that's possible. If not, just sit cross-legged, and let's rest the hands on tops of the thighs and feel the grounded quality of the sitting bones pressing into your block as you lift up through the crown of the head. And take a moment to arrive in your practice and in your body today, tuning into that base of the seat, rooting into the prop, and then broad collarbones, open and expansive across the front of the chest. Lean back just a little bit to align the back of head over the tail. And tune into your breath today, your natural breath, to bring you more fully into the moment. Take a moment to set your intention for practice. What do you want to cultivate in this time on your mat today? Let that intention help guide you in your effort. On your inhale, reach the arms overhead. Take a big full inhale, sweeping the arms up. And exhale, press the hands down right through the central channel and bringing the thumbs to the center of the chest. Thank yourself for showing up today. And let's go ahead and come on to all fours. Have your blocks ready at the front corners of your mat so you can access them when we need them. Now start to move through some slow cat and cows. On your inhale, drop the belly, look up. On your exhale, press through the hands and round, scoop the tail, chin to chest. And inhale, drop the belly, gaze forward or up. And exhale, we're gonna round. One more inhale, broad chest. Exhale, tuck your toes, send your hips toward the heels. And let's take the blocks onto your mat. Plant your palms on the blocks. And so we're in this active extended child's pose where we press the hands into the blocks. Open your elbows away from each other a little bit and then sink your chest down. So you might get a little bit of a deeper stretch in some of the arm muscles and into the shoulder joint. Pressing the palms away. Hopefully the blocks have a little bit of stick and traction into the mat as you do that. And now on your inhale, lift the belly and come forward, bringing your shoulders right over your palms. And then lift your knees, come up into a downward dog with your hands on the blocks. So the blocks sometimes just give you a different perspective, and you may be able to ground your heels to the floor a little more easily, lifting your lower back high. Stretch your right heel straight up into three-legged dog as you inhale, and then exhale, slide your right foot through right between the blocks. And sometimes it's a little easier to do that motion when you have your hands on the blocks and give you a little more lift. Spin that left heel down. And stay lifted through the crown of the head, looking down at your right foot and lengthening from crown to tail. And then keep your right hand on the block. Bring that block really close to the outside of your right heel and start to take your left hand onto your hip. So you find that triangle position in the legs. Good. Let the left hip roll forward and down slightly. And we'll inhale there if you want to extend your left fingertips up to a T and look at the hand in the air. And that block helps maybe take a little pressure out of your right hip. One more inhale, and then exhale, soften that right knee. Release your left hand down onto the block. Swing the left heel over the toes. Now take that left block to a lower setting. Left hand comes down onto the block. Gently pressing into the block, drop your left hip point and roll your left rib toward your right rib. And then extend your right fingertips up. Keep wrapping that right sitting bone straight back. And engage your left gluteal. Inhale in your twist. Exhale, release that right hand down, and then take that right block to that lowest setting, plant the palms, and slide that right foot back into plank, blocks under the hands. Now spread your chest through, lightly engaging your gluteals. Drop your hips. So we're coming into this upward dog variation with the back toes tucked. Gazing up on the inhale. Exhale, press back, finding downward dog with those blocks. Sending the lower back high. Inhale through your nose. Exhale, let it out. We'll slide that left heel high for three-legged dog. Inhale. Exhale, slide that left foot through. And then spin the right heel down. Take the left block at a higher setting. You could keep it at a lower setting if you prefer, but let's try that highest setting and get that perspective so that that left hand can really ground onto something. Tuck that left sitting bone under and start to wrap the left rib toward the right rib. And then extend the right fingertips up. Breathing there. Rooting through the outer right foot. Looking up at the hand in the air for an inhale. Exhale, release that right hand down. Bend your left knee. Swing the right heel over the toes. And we take that right hand on the block. Take your left hand around on your back. Or go ahead and extend your left fingertips straight up to a T for that twist. And inhale. And exhale, release that left hand down. And then let's go ahead and take that left block at the lower setting. Plant your palms and step back to plank. And then let your hips sink again into this upward dog variation with the toes tucked. Engage your gluteals on your inhale, look up. Exhale, gather the belly. And we press back into downward dog. Now lift your heels high and tiptoe forward right between the blocks. Hands on the blocks, inhale, halfway lift. Press your hands to the blocks. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Let your head hang down. And then inhale, come all the way up. Reaching your arms overhead. Exhale, bring your hands down through heart center. And then start to fold, melt your belly over the thighs, interlace your fingers, wring your arms away from the back. Let your head hang, letting the crown of head dangle. One more inhale, and then exhale, bring your hands down onto the blocks. Step your left foot back. Now spin your left heel down with your left toes pointing toward your left wrist. We're going to take the blocks at the highest setting. And then start to fold into Parsvottanasana. Looking at your right hip, having the blocks there for support. And of course, if you want to just bring your hands to the floor, you could do that here. We're going to see about using the block for a different perspective and a soft upper body. And then lift up, lengthen through the crown. Keep your left hand on the highest block. Take your right hand onto the back for revolved triangle. That left outer heel is pressing really strongly, and then the right fingertips start to drift up toward the sky. And you're really tractioning that right sitting bone straight back and underneath slightly, pressing through the ball of your right foot. And let's inhale there, and exhale, bend your right knee, release the right hand down. We're going to touch the left knee down, come back into tabletop position, and then stand up on the knees. Take one of the blocks right between your hands. Give the block a nice press. Then press the block up toward the sky. Hinge your elbows and bring that block right behind the base of the skull and squeeze your inner elbows in. Take a little back bend and you use that block on the base of the skull to lift it up a little bit, away from the tail. Inhale, eyes up. Exhale, press the block up and forward, belly in, and then release the block down. Those blocks are going to be right under your palms again at the lowest height, and then press back into downward dog. Now from this downward dog, lift your heels high onto tiptoes and tiptoe forward right between the blocks. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up overhead. Exhale, hands come down through heart center. Let's bend the knees and melt the belly right over the thighs. Interlace the awkward finger on top and peel the arms away from your back. Let your head go. Inhale. And exhale, gently release your hands down onto the blocks. Let's take them at the highest height. Step your right foot back. We're gonna start with that Parsvottanasana using the blocks. So blocks under your hands, start to drag that left leg straight. So we press through the ball of the left foot and drag that left sitting bone back and fold forehead toward that left shin. Not a lot of weight in the hands. Just let yourself melt over that left thigh. Let the right hip point soften forward and down. So we're just preparing the body a little bit to move into that eventual revolved triangle. Now let's inhale, lift up, lengthen through the crown. Take your right hand on the block, and the block can be just slightly further of your shoulder. And then we're tractioning that left sitting bone back. And the left hand can come on your back. Your right heel may be all the way on the floor, or it might be a little lifted, and that's okay too. And then you can actually do a little self-assist if you want to explore that with your left thumb dragging that left hip back a little. We didn't do that on the other side, but it is an interesting thing to try. And then extend your left fingertips up if that feels good, and look at the hand in the air, revolve triangle. Let's inhale into the belly. Exhale, release your left hand down to the block. Touch your right knee down. Slide that left knee back. Take the block between your hands. Give the block a nice press. Plug the shoulder blades right onto the back. Move the block over the right as far as you feel you can. Keep pressing the block, and then back to center and over to the left. And then back to center. Swing the block right up again. Hinge the elbows and take that block right behind your head. Lift your elbows up on the inhale. Look up. And then exhale, extend the block forward. And we're going to release the block down. Cross your ankles and sit behind your heels and slide your legs out. Okay, so bend your knees, take your feet on the ground about hip width distance. Take a block the lengthwise way right between your knees. Give a squeeze, flex your feet. Take your other block, put it right between your big toes and lift up and hold. Squeeze your big toes in, squeeze your knees. Good. That's challenging. Lift your heels a little bit. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, we're going to release. Feet on the ground. Take your hands on tops of your feet. Bring your forehead right toward the top of that block. Keep squeezing the knees into the block. And then we'll sit up tall. We're going to inch ourselves forward, keeping that block between the knees. Give it a squeeze. Reach forward and start to lower down. Keep squeezing the block. Come all the way down. And bring your spine to rest on the ground. We're squeezing this block between the knees. We have the other block between the feet. Palms facing up. Root through the feet, lift up. Like the block wants to eject up toward the ceiling as you tuck your shoulders underneath. But we keep squeezing the inner thighs into the block to counter that. And we inhale, breathe the chest toward the chin. And let's exhale, melt down. Coming right onto rest the lower back. And then kick that block up toward the sky. Reach up, take the block out. And you can place it away above your head. And then just have that block in between the thighs. Rest your hands on your ribs. Bring the legs forward a little bit. And then back toward your body. A couple times like that. Just a little bit of lower back, core, kind of reset. And engagement. Lightly flex your feet. And then when your heels travel away from your shoulders a little bit, bend your knees, bring your feet on the floor. Let's take the block. We're going to take the block on this very lowest setting. We're going to lift up the hips and pelvis and slide the block right underneath your sacrum and rest your lower back sacrum on that block for a restorative moment in a bridge pose with palms facing up. If you don't have a block at home, you could use like a cushion or a pillow or something under your back. Let that support really release any tension or gripping in your belly. Especially paying attention to the exhales, where that tension can really melt away from the belly. If you want to explore heel toeing your feet a little bit apart and gently windshield wipering there to massage out any kind of tension or feelings in that lower back. If that doesn't feel good, just stay in the middle. You don't have to do that. Just you might explore it, but if not, that's fine. When we bring the knees back to about center, we're going to extend the feet up into this waterfall restorative version. Restorative just means it's restful and effortless. No muscular effort. Soft ankles, soft knees, softness floating into the belly and up into the heart. And we rest there for another couple breaths, supported by the block. And then very gently start to release your feet back to the ground. Gradually bringing your feet back to the floor. Lift your pelvis up just a hair, just a tiny bit, just enough to slide that block away. Place it aside, and then hug your knees in and find a full happy baby. Elbows on insides of knees, hands on the ankles or the outside edges of the feet. Rock and roll, massage your back. And then releasing your feet to the floor. Give your feet a couple of good stamps. And then we'll slowly make our way out into Shavasana, palms facing up. Let the floor support you. Unwind all the joints. Remember and consider what was your intention for today. Soften from the base of the skull down through the tail. Into the hips we relax and out through the toes. Let all the tension and stress lines melt away from your face. And with the palms facing up, we are receptive for blessings and abundance. We are receptive for everything we need, and it's able to flow in on the inhale. And letting go of everything you don't need with your exhale. And let's start to wiggle fingers and toes. Think of what you have to be grateful for today. Let that uplift your spirit any amount. Then let's reach the arms overhead. Take a big full inhale, stretch. Resetting. And then exhale, hug your knees in, inviting compassion for just where you're at today. And then when you're ready, roll yourself to either side and mindfully press up to sit. Let's make our way up again. You can sit on a block optionally. Crossing your non-habitual ankle on top might be really nice. And we're sitting really tall. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, bring the hands down through heart center and honoring this practice. Thanking yourself for showing up. And I wish you joy, peace, health, strength, courage, and trust on the journey. Namaste. So grateful for your presence here. As always, drop me a comment, like, share, subscribe, hit the super thanks button, leave me a tip. Brings me a lot of happiness, joy, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.